Okay, today I want to talk about the difference between activists and advocates because there seems to be a lot of confusion between the two roles. While both play very important roles in keeping society moving forward and in the right direction, they honestly both serve very different purposes, and the outcomes are often also very different. So let's break it down. Activism is often a one issue movement and mainly raises a lot of noise, one issue at a time, and it brings a lot of attention to its mission, but not always peacefully and not always submissively. Ultimately, it creates enough of a commotion that it pokes people in power and instigates opportunities for change, which is fantastic. Advocacy, on the other hand, works on effecting policy change and can focus on one or multiple issues that impact groups in society. Okay, here's how it does it. It doesn't always create a lot of noise and it does not poke or agitate. It is quieter, slower, and uses a more subtle approach to change, which again is also very effective. Activism is often displayed in swift, animated, and excitement that is often fleeting, but advocacy consists on deep-rooted and long-haul, long-term sustainable approaches. Both activism and advocacy aim to make change, but the methods and approaches are what differ. For example, activism is often action-based, either through protest, disruptiveness, boycotts, etc., but advocacy uses dialogue and persuasion to build relationships with all sides in order to influence and enact change, which is the ultimate goal for both. So in advocacy work, advocates work with existing frameworks, legislation, laws, and policies in both big and small ways, while in activism, activists seek to change societal norms, often at unattainable speed. I'll say that both activism and advocacy need each other. Where activism begins, often advocacy will continue. It's not always possible, and here's why. When the cause that activists bring to light is reasonable and in the best interest of society, advocates can easily take on the issue and be more productive and take it to the necessary level of change. We've seen this cooperation work throughout history in many causes, for example, the civil rights movement, women's rights, and even more recently with the environmental protection fight. That's where they work best together. I've personally been on both sides. In my youth, I was an activist. I found it a powerful tool to draw attention to the injustices that I experienced and the ones that faced underserved and voiceless people. As years of experience unfold, however, many activists like myself find a more effective way to instill societal change through advocacy. Here's why. Nowadays, there's a lot of confusion between the two. Many think that they are committed to the betterment of the entire community when they label themselves as activists. But the truth is, not all activism issues that are raised serve or align with society as a whole. It's very one-sided. Thanks to social media, also, many jump on activism bandwagons without knowing what, why, where, and how that the causes are raised are working on. That has perpetuated historic criticism that activists often face, and now, sadly, is warranted. Because advocacy seeks to create a compromise to serve all members of any given community, it has become more effective and it has become more influential. You can probably assume that I am more partial to advocacy. The truth is, though, that like many things in our social behavior, I really believe in the need for both. I am concerned, however, with how radically activism has changed and now has become ineffective in the way it's being perpetuated. And the problem is that the disorganization and the stubborn nature of how activism functions now has caused a lot more misalignment with advocacy.